I want to get into talking about your album.
Yeah.
Obviously. But I do want to say there's one thing about the whole AMAs and all that. I don't want to talk about it, but one thing is it got you a lot of publicity, but it happened right around the time your album was coming out.
Yeah, the timing was
And no one was talking about your actual music. It was very annoying.
Yeah, the timing of it was interesting. It wasn't, that's proof in itself that it wasn't something that I did intentionally. You know, looking back, I realized that it did overshadow the record release a bit. And it's good to get people talking, you know, and to get... I mean, not only were they talking about, oh, that was shocking, but I think that in hindsight I realized that people were talking about something that needed to be talked about.
Yeah.
It actually was bringing up an interesting kind of social double standard. So, I mean, an intelligent conversation I hope ensued for some people, but yeah, the music is why I'm here, so.
Is that ever a concern for you that you'll be known more for anything but the actual music you do?
Sometimes I'm a little bit concerned about it. I think in the long run it'll win out, but it's also something that I don't really think I have that much control over. I think it's kind of the media sensationalizing certain parts of my life, and there's only so much I can do about that. And you know, I'm asked questions and I have to answer them. That's my job. So
now let's talk
should we talk about the music?
Yeah. Now that that's out of the way, now I can say, okay, I asked him about what I'm supposed to ask him about. Okay, you got pretty much a dream team of people on your album.
Yeah.
I want to talk about some of the awesome people you got to collaborate with.
Okay.
And of course, the obvious one to start with is I know you're such a fan of Muse.
I love Muse.
You must have been
when
going
I heard
nuts.
Yeah, when I heard that they gave me a song, I just said, what? Really? I was blown away, and then I heard the song and I was like, wow. It's so theatrical, it's so the right thing, it's so them and yet so me, and so classic, you know? I mean, it reminded me of like a Shirley Bassey James Bond song meets Queen. Like the instrumental in the middle was like very Queen to me. So I was thrilled with it. I thought it was great, and Rob Cavallo did a hell of a job with it. Yeah, I was blown away by that lyric too. I think I think what they're trying to say, in my interpretation, is soaked is like being drunk.
Okay.
And being like going to bars and kind of that downward kind of endless cycle that is trying to fill the emotional void that a lot of us have, and kind of just looking for love and the fulfillment of that void in all the wrong places, which is like in a bottle or in a nightclub. And at the end of the day, your soul will be okay. So they're not saying, you know, you're a complete loser, but they're pointing out that it is kind of futile and a little depressing.
I don't want to get too much into your personal life, but did you ever draw from any autobiographical stuff? You've hung out in Hollywood we've all hung out in Hollywood.
Oh yeah, no, I've totally gone through periods of that, of just kind of being lonely and being kind of bored, and so you find yourself at the same bar every week, kind of like, yeah, I've totally been there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you ever find out what Muse thought of your cover of Starlight?
No, I never got a chance to I actually, even with this song, I didn't really get a chance to contact them. I can't wait to run into them somewhere and thank them so much for all their inspiration and for the song, of course.
I would suggest you guys do a duet together, but I think like windows would shatter everywhere if like you and Matt Bellamy were on the same stage.
That'd be fun. I would love to sing with him. I think we could blend.
You actually, there's a lot of similarities.
We can find the same, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So we were talking about Gaga because, you know, the Grammys just happened. So we got to talk about Fever, which I think is very Scissor Sisters-y, actually.
It does have that kind of a vibe.
Which is a compliment.
It's kind of like a disco, four on the floor kind of feel, and with like a higher falsetto thing, which is very Scissor Sisters, and get very Lady Gaga. Those lyrics are so esoteric and kind of like bizarre and interesting. When I first heard the song, I was so excited. And the funny thing is that her demo of it, which I think is floating around here and there, is a lot more rock-oriented.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a lot more, there's like a live piano sound in there, there's some guitar, there's some like disco bass, like 70s bass. And, but it was a dated demo, like the rhythmic stuff in it is real dated. It was like kind of like like 2005 kind of like, I don't know, like record scratches, and you know, it just didn't sound very fresh. So Jeff Basker, who has been producing a lot for like Alicia Keys and some other artists, he came on board and said, you know, I want to make it really current, really future, but still that disco feel.
Was that
synths were important?
A lot of the songs that are on your album in general are songs that, you know, maybe like your single, like the Pink song, they were written maybe with someone else in mind, or whatever, or recorded by someone else previously. So obviously when you take it on, you have to adapt it to you. So how was that process? Just saying like, okay, here's a Gaga or a Pink song, I'm going to make it an Adam Lambert song.
Well, I think the first step in that process was making sure that we picked the right songs. And like, if it was a song that I didn't feel that I could relate to or stand behind lyrically or melodically or stylistically, I didn't want to go near it. And we even recorded a couple that were great songs, but then when we heard them back, it was like, it just doesn't feel like me. And when I say we, I was working very closely with two A&R guys, one from 19 Recordings and one from RCA, and they were like my homeboys that I could like go like, look, this is how I feel, and it was a very open relationship. It was very positive, and we all kind of were on the same page creatively, which is more than I could ask for, because to be honest with you, I was kind of a little bit leery about going into this process, being that we only had a couple months. I thought, I hope this is like cool. I hope they like let me express myself and do my thing, and it was a dream.
I don't know how any of you or Chris or Allison managed to make good albums with the time constraints that you had.
I mean, I think that they kind of knew who they were interested in right as the show was ending, and they started kind of getting the wheels turning right away, like right as that finale week went in. So they had a little head start on it. They had some people in mind. But yeah, so the first step was picking songs that I knew I could stand behind. And then the cool thing was that in the studio, most of the producers allowed me to kind of speak up and voice my opinion as far as certain vocal interpretations, some lyrical stuff that we changed around a little bit, and even certain production elements. I'm a big fan of the craft of making music, especially like pop music, like forming it on the computer and using all these special toys and bells and whistles, and it's something that I kind of started as a hobby playing with over the past couple years. I was like on GarageBand on my computer, just messing around, but really trial and error, and really kind of figuring out what I liked the sound of and how things were kind of accomplished. And so I have a lot of ideas as far as production goes, and the majority of the producers were really like open to experimenting and trying new things that came to my ear.
I imagine that must have been a relief to you, because, it's the American Idol thing. There's a fear that, like, they could be like, okay, here's a piece of product, like, let's just get something out just to get it out, just to capitalize on the fact that the show ended recently and these people are on a high right now. It's like, your first record's your statement record. You don't want to mess it up, and rush it.
That's true. That's true. It's weird because on the other hand, it is like you have a window. You really do. Like, if I waited until the summer, like this summer, to put out an album, you have that many more people that have forgotten. I mean, our society, as a whole, is a bit fickle, and our consciousness kind of comes and goes as far as like we're responding to what's in front of us. I know the diehard fans are diehard fans, and I know that. I feel good about that. But they're, the general public, they forget about things,
Yeah.
So in a way, it's kind of cool that we get to put out albums so quickly and capitalize on our exposure. That's what Idol does. That's the whole point, is that it exposes you to all these people, puts you on a platform, lets you show what you can do. And you see a lot, I think in the past years on Idol, you see a lot of people that don't get signed right away as like the winners or runner-up, and they put out albums that don't fly because people have forgotten. And it's so sad, because these are some really talented people that come off the show, whether they win or not.
It's true. It's very sad.